Hi, scholars, and welcome to Miss Imani B's classroom. I'm Miss B, or Miss Imani, and today we are going to be continuing reading the Stories Julian Tells. We started last time the second chapter, Catalog Cats, and so today we're going to continue that chapter. But before we continue it, I think it's really important that we take a second to actually look at how Julian responds to conflict. And I'm going to show you how we're... Okay, so now if you have a piece of paper, a sticky note, you can follow along and do this with me. If you don't, I'll do it for us, all right? So what I'm going to create is something called a conflict mountain. Can you say that? Right, conflict mountain. So I'm gonna try my best, but it's gonna be a mountain, so. Whoa, oh my gosh. Can you make that on your own paper? It's real simple. It's a mountain, right? So what we're gonna do when we look at this mountain is we're gonna think about what problems or conflicts Julian faced and then how he responded to them. Because it's in the response that we're gonna be able to really think about Julian's character traits. And here's a hint, scholars, are you ready? You can do what we're about to do with Julian with any book that has characters, conflicts, or problems. You can learn about any character you want, and you can use this strategy. Okay? All right, so conflict. I'm gonna think back to the first chapter. In the first chapter, a conflict that Julian had was that he ate the pudding, right? And I'm gonna write it big. So I'm gonna say, on the inside, I'm gonna write the conflict. Okay, so he ate the pudding. So I wrote here, he ate the pudding. Okay, let me bring you closer. Come to me. Okay, so yeah. He ate the pudding. That's the conflict. So now we have to think, okay, the conflict is that he ate the pudding. How did he respond to that? So when he ate the pudding, now I might have told my dad or my mom, you know, I got really hungry. I ate the pudding. But did Julian do that? No. So what did he do? What did he do? Right. First, well, he did a couple of things. So he tried to smooth it over. So one thing he tried to do was that he tried to smooth it over. He and Huey tried to smooth it over. And if I'm thinking about that, I could say that Julian's a little bit dishonest because he's trying to make it look like he didn't eat all the pudding. Another thing they did with this conflict, they did two things, is zoop, ran under the bed. Ooh, so it could be a few things. We could say he's a little scared. He doesn't really know how to face when he gets conflict. He runs away from his problems. There's a couple of things we can really think about when we're thinking about Julian in this way. Okay, so that's one conflict. Then another conflict, another problem is that his dad catches them. So like his dad confronts them. He's like, Julian, Huey, what did you do to the pudding, right? So dad confronts him. And this is the moment Julian can say, Dad, I ate it. But did he do that? No, he didn't really respond. He kind of like clammed up. So he clams up. So that also kind of tells us that Julian gets really nervous, he gets scared, he likes to run away from his problems. He likes to run away from conflict. So that's teaching us about him. Like, you know, sometimes he can be a little sneaky, sometimes he can be dishonest, but he also has a fear of conflict. And we learned all of that about him in the first chapter because of how he responds to conflict. Now I want you to think about our most recent story, Catalog Cats. If you haven't read it, go back to the other video and read it. In this story, Julian has told Huey that a catalog is a book filled with cats that help with gardening. And at first, Huey doesn't believe him, but then Huey starts to believe him. And then we get to the moment where the catalog has arrived. And Huey's like, oh my gosh, catalog cats, I'm so excited. And he opens it, and he doesn't see the cats, But the moment the catalog arrives, that's where we can see our conflict. That's where we're like, oh, a problem is brewing. Because, let me show you. So we're gonna say, catalog arrives. And the moment the catalog arrives, you remember in the story, Julian wanted to be anywhere else. So Julian wants to disappear. And scholars, this tracks with what we've seen here. Whenever Julian faces a conflict, he wants to run away. He wants to get away. So we're going to keep reading, and we're going to see if it keeps going. What happens when the conflict grows? What does Julian do? How does Julian respond? And what does that teach us about the type of character Julian is? Are you ready? Huey started turning the pages faster and faster. Where are the cats? Where are the cats? He kept saying. What cats? My father said. Huey started to cry. My father looked at me. Julian, he said, please tell me what is going on. Huey thought catalogs were books with cats in them. Catalog cats, I said. Huey sobbed. Julian told me special cats that work in gardens. White ones, they dig up the dirt. Black ones, they brush the ground with their tails. Yellow and brown ones, they roll on the seeds. Huey was crying harder than ever. Julian, said my father. Yes, I said. When my father's voice gets loud, mine gets so small I can only whisper. Julian, my father said, didn't you tell Huey that catalog cats are invisible? No, I said. Julian told me they jumped out of catalogs. He said they jump out and work in gardens. As soon as you get the catalog, they go to work. Well, said my father, that's very ignorant. Julian has never had a garden before in his life. I wouldn't trust a person who has never had a garden in his life to tell me about catalog cats. Would you? No, Huey said slowly. He was still crying a little. My father pulled out his handkerchief and gave it to Huey. Now, blow your nose and listen to me, my father said. Huey blew his nose and sat up straight on the couch. I sat back and tried to be as small as I could. First of all, said my father, a lot of people have wasted a lot of time trying to see catalog cats. It's a waste of time because catalog cats are the fastest animals alive. No one is as quick as a catalog cat. It may be that they really are visible and that they just move so quickly you can't see them, but you can feel them. When you look for a catalog cat over your right shoulder, you can feel that he is climbing the tree above your left ear. When you turn fast and look at the tree, you can feel that he has jumped out and landed behind your back. And then sometimes you feel all the little hairs on your backbone quiver. That's when you know a catalog cat is laughing at you and telling you that you are wasting your time. Catalog cats love gardens and they love to work in gardens. However, they will only do half the work. If they are in a garden where people don't do any work, the catalog cats will not do any work either. But if they are in a garden where people work hard, all the work will go twice as fast because of the catalog cats. When you were a boy,
And had a garden, Huey said. Did your garden have catalog cats? Yes, my father said. My garden had catalog cats. And were they your friends? Huey said. Well, my father said, they like people, but they move too fast to make friends. There's one more thing, my father said. Catalog cats aren't in garden catalogs, and no one can order catalog cats. Catalog cats are only around the companies the catalogs come from. You don't order them, you request them. I can write up a request, I said. Huey can do that very well, I'm sure, my father said, if he would like to. Would you like to, Huey? Huey said he would. My father got a piece of paper and pencil, and Huey wrote it all down. Requested. 1 dozen catalog cats, all varieties. Whoever wants to come is welcome.
Okay, scholars, so as you saw, there was still some of that same being scared of conflict behavior from Julian. But this time, it wasn't so much that he ran away. When his father caught him, or when his father was like, what's going on, Julian? What does Julian do instead? Right, his voice gets smaller, he gets really quiet because he's still trying to disappear. Julian does not like conflict, and whenever conflict happens, he wants to run away. So now that we've seen multiple examples of this, we have it on our mountain, we saw it in this latest part of our story, we're going to keep looking and collecting information about Julian. We have 4 more chapters to read in this book. I love that you're going through this book with me. We're learning so much. And remember that you can do this same work in any chapter book or any book with characters that deal with problems or conflicts. I'll see you next time. Remember to like, subscribe, and share.